Yeah, right? You can't.
Ruthless.
I read something about those times back. This was more medieval times. This was interesting that sex was not taboo. It was because we all had to live under one roof. So sex was just animalistic to procreate, to get more bodies on the farm. So you would watch your mom and dad have sex right next to you. It wasn't a thing about cleanliness or, you know, I mean, I'm sure you had to get an erection and get wet. So there had to be some type of something. But it was like this wild thing where like this whole idea of taboo, a sex being taboo and having terms for everything is pretty much like a new thing. It was. I read this whole thing about at impotence court in France. So back in the day,
court,
dude, there's this guy who wrote this. It's called fucking history. It's by the guy. The author's name's The Captain. This guy's the man, and it's cool. I read one page a day, and it's about different times in history, kind of apply to today. But this one thing I read about was in the 1600s there was an impotence court. So if you could get divorced, if your wife if you wanted a divorce, the wife wanted a divorce, the only way out was you had to go to this court and you had to prove that your husband is impotent and can't get his dick up. So the court were there, and then you'd have to perform the act. And if the husband couldn't get it up, you have to have sex in front of people, couldn't get it up, would grant you the divorce because that was the only grounds that it was necessary for. And
right, because you needed procreation.
You need a procreation. That's what this is about.
So you wouldn't deny a woman's ability to procreate.
Right.
The man can't get an erection, so you could leave him.
And then I think if he did prove his manhood and have sex with her and get a hard-on and come, I think then he had the legal right to kill her.
Oh,
for
boy.
Even taking him to court.
So if you can fuck her in front of everybody, then he can kill her?
Yeah,
Jesus Christ.
Isn't that like wild how times used to... Because
People were fucking brutal, man.
It's not that long ago.
No.
Like, we have the same brain as them, right?
Yes.
We're just more civilized. It's not like our brain has went over this insane evolution yet.
Exactly.
I have that guy's brain.
Everybody
but I just don't do it. Like, I'm not... I guess we're more societal pressures not to do it.
Well, also, society has changed where we have more access to information. We know how other people feel. Back then, they didn't care.
Dude, isn't that what?
Yeah.
Like the smartest, like the Elon Musks and the, Stephen Hawkins of like that time thought like they thought that the sun went around the earth, and they were. The sun went around like they. No,
yeah, they thought the earth was the center of the universe.
The earth was the center of the universe, and like they were as confident as our smart people saying we are positive that it's the other way.
Sort of,
right?
But when Copernicus and all these different people figured out that wasn't the case, Galileo.
No, I know that, but I'm saying, so what do you think today we believe in that we will be disproved in a major way? Like, because as this, when Copernicus and Galileo came out and said, I'm sure it's the other way, I have the proof, and then everybody was like, wait, what? What do you think today is we're believing as fact? Even you and me are believing, but it's going to be disproven. If you had a hunch, what do you think it is?
That's an interesting question.
Thank you.
I don't know. I don't know what it'd be, obviously, because obviously if there's a thing that we all believe today, like how the fuck could I know that would be the thing that would?
You should read this part of the.
What is it?
This is about the impotence court. It's I got to this funny
what
part
does it
where
say?
You should read. Start
the unhappy.
Yeah, start
the
there.
unhappy couple would then be subject to separate examinations to speculate groping by surgeons, physicians, and midwives. Groping by surgeons, physicians, and midwives. A husband's natural parts were scrutinized for color, shape, and number. The best thing he could hope for were the inspectors of delicate demeanor. Various hypotheses were created. Could he muster an erection? Expel reproductive fluids on demand? Was he capable of healthy performance? Or had he been forcing his partner into, how do you say that word?
Lascivious?
Lascivious positions without the promise of coming children. That means butt fucking.
Mm-hmm.
As could be expected, many wilted under pressure. According to the reports of a trial in Reims, I say that? Reims?
I think so.
R-E-H, Reims. The experts waited around a fire. Many a time did he call out, "Come, come now," but it was always a false alarm. The wife laughed and told them, "Do not hurry so, for I know him well." The experts said after that, never had they laughed as much nor slept as little as on that night. Oh my God! So they're just laughing. This poor fucking guy is freaking out. Like, I got it. I got a hard on. She's like, he ain't got shit.
Shit.
Oh my God!
I mean, I couldn't do that. If you want to ask me to, I mean, it's very difficult.
Crazy.
It's there's no way to be able to get hard.
Imagine you're in court and you got to fuck.
They're also saying that divorce was illegal then.
Okay.
So most of these would have to come from the women, and most of their majority, like 20% of the cases, it was from nobility. So like rich women were saying,
"Oh boy,
my husband can't get it hard."
So they have to, and then then you would have to prove it. I'm not. That's real.
Yeah, and then it was on whichever partner actually was found to not be able to get it up had to pay for the court proceedings and lawyers and everything.
They were checking a woman's wetness? Like, what do you mean?
In theory, I guess it could happen the other way. They could say the woman's impotent.
Or a woman can't give birth. That's a big thing. You can't give birth to sons.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was a big thing. King Henry VIII, right? He killed all his wives, and he was the one that was controlling the sex. But science didn't know that yet.
The thing is also that, boy, when human beings used to have fertility rituals, like they were always trying to reproduce because people died so early.
Yeah.
Like people died of everything. They died broken leg, dead, injury, dead, infection, dead,
right,
blood infection, sepsis, dead. Everybody just died. Like that's when people look at like the average age of people back then. Oh, people only lived to 30. That's really because there was so much infant mortality, and infant mortality and childhood mortality factors in that, because like half your kids were gonna die. It's not like today. You have 5 kids. The 5 kids are at my grandfather's house.
Yeah.
Hey, everybody's grown up now. They have kids of their own. Way back then, everybody died.
So you're saying back then there were still plenty of 50, 60, and 70-year-olds walking around.
There's probably a few, that like dodged bullets and made it to that way and fucking pulled arrows out of their back. But the bottom line is like it's the same. What's that guy's boner? Why are you showing us this?
Yeah. This gets into saying that like it had to go. Big dicks were an issue back then or something. They were using this statue as a scarecrow and